Court disqualifies Bayelsa State APC governorship candidate Timmy Silva from the governorship election race. And tonight, we'll be engaging one of the top front runners in the Kogi governorship race, in a race that has been described as an intense race. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Just as always, tonight is also packed with some of the major issues grabbing the headlines in our political conversations in Nigeria today. So many things are happening all around the world. The Israel-Hamas situation and the implications across the globe. Advocacy for peace and all world view brings attention to our own politics and elections and how much we need peace and peaceful resolution of disagreements, especially in deciding who governs us. Tonight, we'll be going to Kogi State, and one of the front runners in the race will be talking to us in that race that has been described as a most intense race in the history of the North Central state. There are three elections that will be happening on the 11th of November 2023, Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa State. Those three states have now been seen as some kind of violent-prone areas, and INEC is worried about it. We get to that in a moment. And also, another thing that gets us talking is a disqualification by the court today in Abuja of the APC governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, a former Minister of State for Petroleum, Timmy Silva. What are his options? Is he disqualified in the eyes of the Constitution? What is the APC saying? We'll be getting official response on that tonight. Stay with me, everyone. Let's first check some of your political roundup stories.
Governor Bassi Otu has assured elders of the All Progressives Congress in the Northern Senatorial District that his administration will complete all ongoing projects in as well as initiate new ones. The governor also promises to ensure balance in appointments across the state.
I want to assure each and every one of you that we'll continue to work together to give not just the Northern Senatorial District, but all the three senatorial districts the best of the best.
And ahead of the November 11 governorship election in Imo State, the leadership of Labour Party has reiterated its commitment to ensuring the victory of the governorship candidate of the party in Imo State, Senator Ethan Achonu, as the next governor of the state. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the chief spokesperson, Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Tanko Yunusa, says Senator Achonu remains the best candidate vying for governorship seat, having developed a manifesto that will put an end to insecurity and unemployment among the youth of the state.
We can see how he's developing the state.
Thank you so much, everyone. Before we get to here in our Abuja studio, let's deal with a story that is being developing from late yesterday night. That is from Bayelsa State, a judgment coming from an Abuja court relating to the APC candidate in Bayelsa State, which has been disqualified from the race ahead of the November 11 governorship election. Mr. Timmy Silva, Justice Okorowo ruled that Silva, having been sworn in twice and served 5 years as governor of the state, will breach the 1999 Constitution as amended if allowed to contest again. The judge also declared that Silva was not qualified to run in the November poll because if he wins and is sworn in, he would spend more than 8 years in office as governor of the state. Meanwhile, we've been getting some reactions coming from the APC. Earlier today, the APC chairman in Bayelsa State was at a presidential villa and has responded and perhaps giving us an inclination on what the decision of the APC in that state would be in reaction to the court's judgment. Take a listen to him.
Well, it's unfortunate that judgment, but we can say that it is democracy in action. But we learned that the person who took the issue to the court of law is not even qualified because he did not contest with the silver. Therefore, he's not even qualified for him to take the issue to the courts. However, we are appealing. We are waiting for the judgment, and then we appeal on that issue.
The APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, in that reaction. Meanwhile, Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Diri, said that he's not at loggerheads with the APC candidate, or APC rather, as a party, or is against the character of his governorship candidate, Mr. Timi Presiva, who is described as a serial deceiver. The governor was speaking at the campaign rally in Albia local government area of the state. Take a listen to him.
The man who gave out oil wells as minister to everybody outside Nigeria. There is no one from Bayelsa. The only one that we have in Atala oil, he collected it again. Is that the type of character you want? The man who has serially deceived Bayelsa people. Serially deceived Bayelsa people. And so, for us, that's why everybody who speaks is telling you that this is a battle between light and darkness.
All right. This is politics. You'll be hearing a whole lot of that. A lot of people pitching and, cajoling the people for themselves. But where does the APC go from here? The election is just almost a month away, 11th November. That is when the people of the state will be able to elect, in these 3 states, elect their next governor. Don't forget that in Bayelsa, Imo, the governors there are hoping to get re-election. But in Kogi State, Governor Yaya Bello spent 2 terms, and a new governor, no matter what it is, will emerge in that state. Let's get APC's reaction quickly before we come back to our Abuja studio here to speak with the governorship candidate who is here with me. Let's speak with the APC National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Felix Moka, who joins us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much, Felix, for joining us tonight. Give us an understanding where your party stands. Looks to me like lightning striking in the same spot twice.
Thank you, Sean, for having me. As our national chairman, Dr. Ganduje, remarked on your show a few minutes ago, of course, we are, disappointed at the judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja regarding the disqualification by that court of our governorship candidate, Timi Presiva of Bayelsa. Now, but of course, when you have an election situation, you have, contestants and people who jostle. But there's something very curious about this particular decision. This is not a legal challenge that was brought by someone who was himself qualified to interrogate the outcome of, the primaries in a party, or for that matter, to question the qualification of the candidate of our party in Bayelsa. This individual, now on the face of it, claims to be a member of the party, but our chapter of the party in Bayelsa have questioned his membership of the party. That's one. Secondly, the Electoral Act is very clear, Shehu. In several provisions, it makes clear that only the individuals, those who contest at the primaries for that particular office, have the local standard to challenge, the winner of that process. Now, this individual, who is the plaintiff in this matter, was not a contestant. So actually, he doesn't have the standing, the local standard to bring the action that he brought. So it's really curious how this court came about the decision that it reached. It ought to have simply ruled that this challenger, the plaintiff in that court, was not a contestant in that primary, and therefore not qualified to bring the action in the first place. So, but again, the lawyers on both sides for the party and for our candidate in Bayelsa have, properly instructed the lawyers to bring diligent and expeditious appeal against the judgment of this court.
So I understand that your party has officially filed an appeal, isn't it?
Correct.
All right. So are you worried about this scenario that your candidate has now been, over the time, subjected to legal scrutiny such that it is now becoming a trend? The last time it was David Lyon, on the eve of him being sworn in as governor, he was removed by the court. Now, it's happening again that your candidate, Timi Presiva, is being removed by the court. He's only standing on one leg because he has the legal right as a citizen of Nigeria to appeal the judgment of a lower court to the higher court. It then means that the people who are voting will have their minds whether or not they should stick with your party because of these legal issues. Are you worried about that?
So this is the intended outcome of the mischief workers in this matter. When you are in a political environment, I don't want to, cast aspersion on even the PDP in Bayelsa because of the kind of antics they do. This is simply a mercenary kind of lawsuit where those who are afraid of competing, in this case, Governor Diri, who is afraid of competing with His Excellency, Mr. Seva, has gone to, procure someone to bring an action. But what is, regrettable is that the court, in fact, gave this decision. Like I said, there was no basis for it. But, we will test the strength of this judgment on appeal.
So if you're looking at, Mr. Moka, as a lawyer, if you're looking at the locus of the person who has gone to court, what about the meat or the fact of the case? You remember the case of Goodluck Jonathan, and those who have said constitutionally, if Goodluck Jonathan had to recontest, he would have spent more than 8 years in office as stipulated by the Constitution, similar to the meat of the matter in which the court ruled on yesterday night.
No, but see, when it comes to law, Sheung, as we have been told, even in the last, week of the contentions around some of the bogus allegations made by former vice president, they've said, look, we will go to the Supreme Court to test the, proposition that the Supreme Court is not a court of trial. You see, when it comes to law, nothing is really infinitely set in stone. My point is that the starting point is the locus. If the person who is bringing a challenge is himself not qualified, that court lacks jurisdiction. So the court in this instance had no jurisdiction to entertain this suit to begin with, because the person who is moving the court to act was not qualified. That's a preliminary issue that this court ought to have settled, prior to now. But I get your question, but I'm not going to go into that. But those are the issues which the lawyers, I am sure, on appeal, we look at to see.
I don't think that we should delineate the issues. Locus also is tied around the reasons why the petitioner is going to court. That is on technical grounds. But let's look at the meat of the matter, the facts of the matter. The fact of the matter is issues of constitutionality. Whether or not someone who has been sworn in twice then can also get an oath of office a third time, and perhaps he spent 5 years. If he is sworn in, he would have spent almost 9 years or close to 10 years if he gets sworn in again. And these are constitutional issues. Is your party worried about it? And perhaps those who will ask the question, maybe your party has not done its due diligence and homework in selection of its candidate, and that's why you are being subjected every time to these shocks in the courtroom.
No, Sean, that's not exactly right. When the Constitution says you cannot do more than 2 terms, you have to understand. In this case, I think Silva may have done 5 years before he had to leave office. The point is that where is the justice in that? When also the same Constitution gives a governor or an elected official a right to 2 terms of at least 8 years, of 8 years certain, to rephrase. And then something goes on, and then that individual does 1 day, 4 years and 1 day, and then he's removed, and then he's barred from returning. What is the justice in that as well? You see, these are issues that have to be contested and tested by the courts. The courts must also find creative ways of going around the injustice that is occasioned by this construction of the Constitution, because it makes no sense that a day after you're sworn in, you're removed, and then you are barred from contesting. So the remainder of the 4 years that you didn't serve, it's lost for whatever reason. And the reason you didn't, serve may not actually be something that is your fault.
Oh dear. So, I mean, legally speaking, because law is also about contestation, debate for and against, and there are those who will say there are some former governors in states who their elections have been nullified. And based on that, you cannot really make a reference to them as being in office because the court has nullified them. So there are those who will also argue that Timmy Silva's first oath of office was nullified since that term was nullified by the court. That means it does not hold water. Is that a ground that you think is speaking for your party? Oh dear. All right, we understand that the connections there with Mr. Moka is we're looking at Timmy Silva's chances based on the court judgment from yesterday night. The APC said is going ahead to fight these at the appeal court, and perhaps this has the potentialities of going up to the Supreme Court, whichever case may be. How that pans out will be something that we'll all need to learn, either lawyers or non-lawyers, learn from going forward. I think we should turn our attention now to what is happening in Kogi State, and I'm being joined tonight by the Social Democratic Party candidate in Kogi State, Mr. Murtala Ajaka, who joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajaka, for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shell.
Elections are just a month ago.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Very much ready.
Why this kind of violence that we're seeing? What is going on? And this seems to be, the back and forth seems to be between your party, your supporters, and that of the APC. What is going on?
Any issue crisis is always state-sponsored.
What we're seeing?
There is no crisis in Kogi
Because
State.
the APC said you are the one behind all of this.
How? The state government is the problem.
How?
They are the ones sponsoring all these attacks.
Is this attack, the supporters that was affected, the person killed, who is this person? Is he an NSTP supporter or an APC supporter?
I don't know who she is, but the attack was caused by the state government through the council chairman. Approval was duly sought from the DPO, the director, the DSS people, and the civil defense people. They were given more than 5 days' notice for the rally. So it is the impunity of the state government that is causing all this crisis in the state.
But they're pointing accusing fingers against you. Severally, you have been invited by the authorities. The police have invited you. You have turned down those invitations, and that you are a violent man. They say they know you very well because you were one of them, and the APC have accused you severally that you are a violent man. How do you respond to those kind of accusations?
I'm a violent man, Mr. Sean. I think you should withdraw that word.
That's the allegation coming from your opponent. That is what they're saying. They said the authorities have invited, the police have given out invitations to you. Have you honored those invitations?
For you to call somebody a violent man, I don't have a history of violence. I have never had any police case in my life. How do you describe me as a violent person?
That's what your opposition are saying. What do you tell them? How do you defend yourself? Because you have a case with the people of Kogi State, because they are the ones that you are seeking their vote. How do you convince them that you are a man of peace?
Mr. Sean, the problem of the state is the state governor.
How?
The governor is the one orchestrating all these crises in the state.
How?
He's arming thugs.
How? You have evidence?
You know better, of course. You can see what happened about 4 days ago. The thugs are fighting themselves. They are killing themselves. The videos are on the internet. It's arming these boys with AK-47 and pump-action rifles across the state, especially in the eastern part of the state.
Why do you think this is happening?
That is of course, we have evidence.
In what form?
One of his thugs was killed by another thug of his in the Kenya local government. As I'm talking to you now, there are about 4 thugs that are in the custody of the Nigerian military. And they're trying every way to take them out of that place now. You can confirm. Your reporter is in Lokoja there.
Have you been able to honor the invitation of the police?
What kind of invitation, please?
They said they have extended invitation to you based on the past events.
Mr. Sean, when you ask this kind of question, it appears you are taking side.
I'm asking you a question as a journalist.
It's not a question.
Are you uncomfortable with my question?
No, because how? Inviting me for what?
As the police invited you?
No.
But the police have put what out there that they invited you and you have
to do what?
So they've not extended the invitation to you?
No, police have not invited me for anything.
So what would you say fundamentally?
Mr. Sean,
because
Mr. Sean, excuse me. You know, several times my campaign office has been attacked. We have made series of reports to the police. Up to now, no action taken. Several times people have been attacked, especially in the east. There's no action taken.
Are you suggesting compromise?
Of course, the governor is the problem of the state. Governor Ayabelo is the problem of Kogi State.
But it's not going to be on the ballot this time around. Why do you think
that is why? Have you seen the candidate? He's nowhere to be found. The only person is here around, boasting around, is the state governor. He's trying to create fear. And I've forgotten that in less than 4 months now, he'll be out of that place. And there are governors before him, and there shall be governor after him.
Why do you think that there seems to be some attack on you? Why?
Of course, if you are in the state, you know that I'm the most popular candidate in the state. That by the grace of God, the people are with me. By November 11, if you go by the indices there, I'm going to win the election. That's why he's after me. He knows his candidate is not popular. His candidate is part of the problem. The man behind the percentage salary is his candidate. The civil servants in the state are against his candidate. Virtually everybody who is somebody in the state is against the candidate. He is the one promoting this candidate because, of course, of the deal they have.
What deal?
So they know.
Are you privy to that kind of deal?
At the appropriate time, we'll let the world know.
Is it about the monies of the state, or what deal exactly? What is this about?
Of course.
And I'm asking you because I know you're a former member of the
APC. He's putting this guy forward because Yaya Bello wants to contest the 2027 presidential election.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're privy to that?
Just take it to the bank.
He did contest 2023. So you think that that is his main agenda?
Of course, that's his agenda.
Okay. Let me ask you about your, this issue of qualification is now a topical matter that, based on what we have seen in the past. How qualified do you think you are for this race?
I'm more than qualified.
Academically, are you qualified?
I say I'm more than qualified. I'm qualified to run this.
What academic qualification are you putting forward?
As far as the constitution required.
The school cert?
Of course. That is
the minimum?
That's the minimum.
Or do you have more than that?
Of course.
Can you tell us more about that?
No, Mr. Sean, I said I've submitted what the constitution says. And I leave it at that.
No, so I'm asking because this conversation is about the people of the state. We're talking to candidates.
I have the mental temperament to rule the state. And that's why I'm aspiring.
I spoke with a colleague of yours, Mr. Abegide, and I spoke with him, and he was talking about his, we put to test his academic qualification. And that's what we're trying to do, to test also whether or not academically you have the soundness of mind to be able to run Kogi State.
I've answered you, I do.
So beyond having school certificate, do you think that that basic, that minimum requirement is what is needed to run Kogi State at the moment?
It's not a school certificate. I have more than a school certificate.
Can you tell us more about it?
Well, that's not what I'm here for. I have a degree.
It's part of what
I have my first degree in public administration. But of course, the Constitution says the minimum requirement. And you know this country, I have to submit the one that I know nobody can call and change anything there. You can see what they are trying to do to my deputy now. The state government, in collaboration with the security agencies in the state, I've taken my deputy to court. That his work is forged. Only for us to write work now to confirm the authenticity of his result. So this guy, there's nothing they cannot do. In 2019, they questioned the academic credentials of the MPDP candidate. So I know them, so we know ourselves.
So you want to be secured, you want to be
course.
safe. You are playing safe, that's why you do not want to release the rest of your...
Of course, I have to play safe because they can manipulate anything against you, especially with the Abelo there as the governor of the state.
Education-wise and the level of knowledge that you have in the state, that you have, do you think it's enough to deal with, you are mentally prepared for the job, the task? Because we're going into your manifesto in a moment.
I've answered you that I have the temperament to run the state, both in content and in character.
What about the academic and the knowledge base?
That's why I said.
Intellectual capacity.
I've been around for the past 20 years to understand what governance is all about. And I'm in this race because I believe I have the competence to govern the state.
So tell us more about your competence. If you were to hire someone as a CEO, you will want to know whether or not the person can run the company in which you are hiring them for. The Kogi State people will want to know whether or not tonight you are able to do the job, the number one job in Kogi State, being the governor.
In Kogi State today, the problem in the state is multidimensional. And I believe very strongly I have what it takes to provide solution to their problem. And I know.
So tell us what you know about Kogi State. What are the basic, if you are to list 3 major problems, because if you are going there, you're going there to solve problems.
Yeah.
But you must have done your homework to know the problems you're going there to solve. Give us an idea of 3, for example, of the problems of Kogi State.
Today, in Kogi State, virtually all the infrastructure in the state is in the bad shape. Today, the civil servant, especially in the local council, are being paid percentage salary. The civil servant, the state government, they are only being paid salary. Other entitlements are not being paid. You can confirm from them. Virtually everything that has to do with governance in the state is in a bad shape in the past 7 years. And that is what we want to come and correct. And the people know that I have the competence and the character to correct these things. That is why I'm in the race.
You talk about infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Workers' welfare.
Welfare.
And what's the third thing? I was asking for 3.
You know, when I say infrastructure, it entails everything. For instance now, the educational sector, the health sector, that's everything that has to do with governance in the state.
What would you do differently? For example, in terms of infrastructure, what are your plans?
Let me give you an example. In the course of my traversing the state, I went to this western part of the state. The road linking Kaba to Egbe, that's less than 100 kilometers, is in a bad shape. And this road is connecting about 5 local governments. Now, the state government claims that that road is a federal road. And this road is an economic road. By the grace of God, if I have the opportunity and I vote and become the governor of the state, that is going to be a priority. We will do it.
How long will it take you to fix that kind of road?
In less than 12 months, we'll get it done. Because like I've said in everywhere where I've been, I'm going to set up Kogi Construction Corporation.
What would that be doing?
direct labor to get these roads done. There are a lot of economic roads in the state, even within the local metropolis. So a lot is wrong in the state.
All right. We'll touch on more of that because tonight, should you be elected governor of Kogi State, this particular conversation will be a reference point. They will be asking that you made promises on China's television to doing this and doing that, and they will remind you. So you better know that whatever you're saying tonight, you need to mean it. All right, we'll take a break, everyone. But when we come back, Mr. Murtala Ajaka, the SDP governorship candidate, will still be talking to her. He says he's the man to beat in that election, and that is why the level of violence that we see is happening. We'll find out more about his plan on wanting to become the #1 citizen in Kogi State come November the 11th, governorship election in that state. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Mr. Murtala Ajaka is the Social Democratic Party candidate in the Kogi governorship election slated for the 11th of November 2023, and he's been speaking with us right here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajaka, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, please permit me some few minutes because earlier on we were speaking with Mr. Felix Moka, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the APC. There was some connection glitch earlier. So let's get back quickly and wrap up our conversation. So I was asking you that perhaps one of the defense that your party might be looking at, or perhaps what is on your mind, is that those who have been governors before and had their tenure been nullified by the court, been usually said that you cannot make reference to them as being governor because that time the court has said it's illegal and unconstitutional and nullified. It doesn't apply in the records. Now, is this what is applicable if, for example, the argument that Mr. Timipre Silva's first oath of office was nullified by the court?
No, certainly, Seun, that was the point I was making before I got disconnected. That this provision of our Constitution requires to be tested further, to be scrutinized by the courts in order to ensure that candidates who are caught in this predicament are not, dealt an unfair hand, if you will. There should be a way for the courts to look at the justice of the matter, to be able to, not just, exclude them because of whatever it was that, court shot the attempt. The point you're making is very valid, which is that if the courts, say you were never governor, and that's the reason you are not able to continue, why then are you not able to recontest, an election for that position? Those are legitimate questions that the courts, must answer. So, which is the reason in this case of Timipre Silva, we are, launching an appeal, hoping that all of the arguments that, may be made, will be made before the courts, and then hopefully get them to, completely trash this decision, especially on the ground that the plaintiff was himself not qualified to bring that action. You can't change the law. That's what the law says. It's pretty clear. So for him to bring that action and for the court to entertain it, that was outside of the jurisdiction of that court. So we're hoping that an appeal court will, I think, do justice to this matter.
All right. So just to wrap up our conversation with you, so we established that there's an appeal. You are going ahead with your campaigns because you think that you have a chance. Those who will say that is that's a risk, isn't it? Because it can go anywhere, go up to Supreme Court, and at the last minute, the Supreme Court might say the judgment of the trial court, the first court of trial, is stands. But let me take you away from that and go to the fact that over the past few days and weeks, the issue of President Tinubu's certificate as being in there. But recently we saw that some of their supporters are talking about the records, academic records of the former vice president. And only recently, the son of the president, Seyi Tinubu, there's a lot of criticism about his trip to Kano when they saw him on a presidential jet. These are a whole lot of issues happening at the same time. Does your party have any response to some of these issues?
Yes, with respect to articles qualifications, look, they always say that those who live in glass houses, should not throw stones. The way and manner, the vengeance with which, Alhaji Abubakar waged this, crusade, if you will, against the president regarding his, qualifications from the Chicago State University, you would think that Atiku Abubakar himself was completely flawless. But as has been revealed now, this man we know as Atiku Abubakar, in his school certificate, has Sadiq Abubakar. Where does that come from? Where does it come from? And then, Dele Momodu was, I think on Twitter today, trying to explain that, oh, he used to be Sadiq, he did an affidavit and all that. Look, he's going to explain and explain, as they say, and, quite frankly, without any evidence. But look, on a more serious note, this is the reason some of us have come out to say, look, the school in Chicago has verified that this president attended their school and was a student. So we leave it at that. The matter is before the Supreme Court now. So I won't say more. Regarding the news that's making the round about Sheyi Tinubu's trip to Kano on board a presidential jet, I think that part of the problem we're having with social media these days is that people report incompletely. They report completely without the context. Because people read that and say, oh, they think, oh, Tinubu Sheyi just jumped on a plane and went to Kano. That's not what happened. That plane was conveying a number of dignitaries, including the Deputy Senate President and, I believe the Emir of Kano and a few other notable, senior citizens to that event. And he happened to be one of the, passengers on that plane. Now, Sheyi is the son of the president. And everywhere in the world, the first family is accorded some level of, protection because they are dear to the president. Should anything, God forbid, happen to any one of them, how will the president be able to concentrate to do the job he's supposed to do? So everywhere, it's not just Nigeria, that privilege is extended to members of the first family, whether in the United States or in England and elsewhere, because of the very sensitive profile that's about them. So look, I think we need to again calm down and not pick on every thing we see to unnecessarily blow out of proportion, which I think is what is happening with this matter.
So I mean, that is a position of things because I was trying to make inquiries and get some thought from the villa about the situation, and we understand that, in fact, this in part, Sheyi Tinubu himself actually had some meetings with the governor of Kano, said this is in part a polo tournament that some enthusiasts had to watch, and is in part some state functions and some political engagement. But now that you're telling us that it wasn't only the president on that flight, is that the standard procedure that the first family enjoys the kind of protection and the kind of logistics that the president enjoys? Is that the standard?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm saying that where there is some confluence, where there's an activity in Kano, like you said, for so many important reasons, and other dignitaries are going. Once that plane is cleared to go, I don't see what is wrong with the son of the president getting on the flight with these other dignitaries to Kano to attend all of these events. What was he supposed to do? While the plane is there and there are seats on the flight, then because he's the son of the president, he must go to the commercial airport and board, a commercial plane to Kano. I think not. I think that he is cleared. He has security clearance to be on that plane, and he was on that plane, alongside other eminent Nigerians. And I don't think that we should make any issue out of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix Moka, for your time tonight. Let's get back to Mr. Ajaka. Thank you so much indeed for your time. So let's get back to why you want to be governor of Kogi State. If you become governor of Kogi State, if you are elected governor of Kogi State, in terms of the economy of that state, what plans do you have?
Thank you. You see, Kogi State, as you know, is a civil servant state. And
is it a civil servant state?
It is.
What makes it a civil servant state?
We don't have any industry there, apart from Bajana, other things. So what we tend to do, I believe in free enterprise. We tend to open up the state.
How do you do that?
To come in and invest.
How do you
do
that?
But for people, before investors can come into the state, we must get the infrastructures right first.
So within the first 6 months of you getting to office, how much of that can you do to tell investors that Kogi State is ready for investment?
Good. Investors follow where they see opportunities. And what are these opportunities? Like I was talking about the Kaba-Egbe Road. It's a major highway in the state. The road from Lokoja, Ajokuta, Ayangba, up to Angpa, leading to the east, is a major road. Though it's a federal road, it is equally in a bad shape. So by the grace of God, with the support of our people, once we get the mandate, some of these infrastructures that are in bad state, we are going to start work on them immediately. That's why I said we are going to set up Kogi Construction Corporation, because they still don't have enough money to award these contracts. But we have the manpower with few experts to get some of these things done. Secondly, you see, Kogi people are enterprising people. We tend to support every businessman that is locally based. Every business entails capital. If you go to the state capital and nothing is working, because the businessmen there depend on the civil servant to patronize them. The only state-owned hotel we have there, the Conference Hotel, has been sold out. So God knows who. So we intend to invest in the state.
Will you be borrowing to do this? Does the state have, based on the knowledge of the economy of the state that you have, and the capacity or the income that is presently being generated by the state, do you think that the state have the capacity, monetary-wise, to be able to do these things that they say, or will you be looking at getting loans?
No, I'm not going to borrow.
At all?
Yes, because based on the data we have now, the IGR of the state is ranging between 2 billion to 2-point-something billion.
Every month?
Every month. And with the increase on FAC allocation now, that is enough to take care of salary. You see, this is about sincerity of purpose. If I can have a stable 2-3 billion every month, and I have the equipment, of course, within 24 months, I should be able to have no less than 300-kilometer road.
In the state?
In the state.
With an estimation of how much for a kilometer? What is your estimation?
Our terrain is not that bad. Almost the same thing with Abuja. The standard, a kilometer of road is not supposed to be more than 200 million naira. Abuja standard. But of course, you know, the awarding contract now, they'll tell you is about 500 million. And you will not get value for the money. So what we intend to do is to open up the state, fix the infrastructure, get the civil servant going, back to work, because most of the primary school in the state now have closed shop. You can go and verify this. Virtually all the primary schools in the state have closed shop. Virtually all the local government secretariats across the state have closed shop. The chairman cannot take care of themselves. How can I talk of their people again? That's why I keep saying a lot is bad in the state. As we are talking now, there's a case between the state government and the EFCC. Part of the bailout fund finds its way to the Sterling Bank. EFCC have confiscated that money now. The money is in CBN. By the grace of God, when we get this mandate, of course, we will reflate the economy of the state with that 20 billion. Because it's their entitlement. And we're going to do that.
Let me take you to the issue of security. It's a major issue in Kogi State. And Kogi State is bordered by at least 6 other states. and we don't, I mean, it sounds like, one sounds like a broken record talking about the potential, the natural resource in that state. Kogi State alone, with all the natural resources, has perhaps more natural resources than some countries on the continent. So a lot of people believe that that state has a lot of potential to be able to become, in fact, one of the richest states in Nigeria. And there is a train corridor that links Kogi and Ajaokuta and Itakpe and Warri. I mean, these are windows and corridors that can bring more revenue for this, but there are fears of insecurity also on one part. On your own, as a governor, should you be elected, what would you do to fix insecurity in the state? And the vulnerability in terms of the borders.
Yeah, the insecurity in the state is caused by the state government.
You keep saying this.
Yes. All these guys that are committing this crime are the government boys. Look, like Abacha used to say, once you hear consistently banditry in a particular sport, the government is aware of it. If you go to Kogi State today, most of these boys carrying arms in the name of vigilante, in the name of party boys, are loyal to the state government. They commit offense with impunity.
So what would you do?
Even the commissioner of police is helpless. You see, we have been having an issue with this before. With all due respect to the person of the CP of the state, he's a very, very upright man. The CP. But of course, the governor is manipulating a lot of things, causing insecurity in the state because of election, because he wants to enthrone his brother at all cost.
What would you do to fix insecurity in the state? Because if you say all of these are tied to election, elections will come and it will go. If you have been given the opportunity to lead the state, what would you do differently?
If you are not a friend to a criminal will not come close to you. By the grace of God, if we get the mandate of our people, of course, the criminals will give way.
But why are there some agitations against you? For example, the Coalition for Credible Elections in Nigeria, the Kogi State Young Professionals and concerned civic organizations staged a peaceful walk in Abuja demanding that the IGP declare a governorship you, Mr. Muritala Ajaka, wanted for ignoring police invitations and undermining security efforts in the state.
Ignoring? Am I above the law?
These are in the news.
Of course, you see, these are sponsored people. They are all sponsored by the state government. Like I told you earlier, I've never been involved in any police case.
What about the case?
I've never been involved in any street fight.
In that work, they were also demanding justice for Khadija Yaya, a female APC supporter who they say was allegedly killed by STP supporters.
Like I said, they attacked me. And we have written to the police, we have written to the DSS to investigate. Those behind the attack are, well, the videos are there. Mr. Sheon, are you telling me you've not seen the video of the attack in Kotonkarfe?
Those are some of the videos that we saw. And what is your own response on what really happened in Kotonkarfe?
That's what I'm telling you. It's unfortunate that the state government have chosen this route just because they want to enthrone his brother as his successor. But the people of the state are saying no, and they are trying to coerce them into supporting them. But the people are just waiting for them, waiting for November 11 to come to answer them.
Some traditional rulers are speaking out and saying that they will not go with you. Are they
which traditional ruler?
I mean, you understand better your terrain. I may not be able to mention,
mention
their traditional titles.
Mention them.
Just a moment, as a candidate of in this race from Kogi East, and you have said that you're going to join forces to fight a common enemy. And you've seen some of the reactions coming. Who are these?
The common enemy is the state governor. Yaya Bello is a common enemy to the state.
A personal grouse against the governor? You seem to have mentioned his name more than
He's a problem of the state. He's not on the ballot. He's not contesting.
That is your governor.
Of course.
That was your leader when you were in the APC.
Of course, he's the governor, but he's not behaving as a leader. A leader that wants to kill his subject.
Are you
is a leader. A leader
is angry with him
leader
that
is referring to his subject as antelope. Is that a leader?
Are you worried about the caliber and the profile of people like Dino Melaye, Leke Abejide in this race? You don't seem to reckon with Ododo, the APC candidate. Are you worried that, that those who say that these are even more prominent than yours and have been tested in the polls?
Let me put this straight. I have nothing personal against Yaya Bello. I have nothing personal against Ododo. I don't. What I'm against is their style of governance. Trying to force, to cajole everybody into submission. That is what we're against in the state. The Kogi state is for all of us. In 2019, they attacked Natasha. In 2019, they attacked Dino. How come this is everybody in Nigeria know that this is their trade?
Do you feel that you have a level playing field in this election?
I have absolute confidence in INEC and the federal security. Whatever they are doing, the people are going to vote. And we told them, when you vote, remain at the polling booth. Don't move away. The federal government, under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is going to protect everybody. So that people are going to vote, and they'll vote against them.
Do you have your loyalty with President Tinubu?
Oh, 100% loyalty to him.
And
I'm a product of his school of thought. We're all together. You know how I left APC? The governor came with an order from the State High Court, a day to the primary, disqualifying me, a serving member of the National Working Committee of a party, using the State High Court, that I've ceased to be a member of the party, and by so doing, I cannot participate in the party primary.
All right.
Shall we know all these things better?
We need to leave it at that. Muritala Ajaka, SDP governorship candidate, wish you the very best. And I'm hoping that in the coming days, of course, Mr. Ododo, whom you have put up to challenge tonight.
Please invite him here. I have nothing personal against Ododo. I'm open to debate. Let him come. Let's debate. Let the people choose who they want. Right. It is not for the governor to determine for the state who shall be his successor.
All right. Debate it is. It will happen. It's in the works. You will see it right here on China's television. Kogi governorship debate. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Muritala Ajaka. Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow again, God willing. Bye-bye.